Hellboy. I watched it for the first time. And well, it's kind of like, did I love it or did I love it? And I think that means there's only one answer here, and I loved it. What can I say? What can I say? Like, oh, what I'm supposed to say that Guillermo del Toro made a bad film? Never gonna happen. So, for the uninitiated, Hellboy is a film that was, released in 2004, directed by Guillermo del Toro, and it follows the character Hellboy, played by Ron Perlman, as essentially like he is a little freak and he's part of a bureau that keeps track of freak shit, and then he's the guy that they send out when the freak shit starts happening. If you actually want to know what the plot is, you should watch the movie, trust me. But it's based off of this comic book series, by the same name, written and illustrated by hold on, I need to look at my notes. Mike Mignola. Pretend I just didn't fumble that entire intro thing. It's a superhero movie, which, before the age of the Marvel superhero movie. So safe to say it is good. My personal favorite part was the makeup. What can I say? I love a movie with great practicals. I love a movie with really good makeup. And you know what? I've watched 8 seasons of Face Off, so you could say I'm an SFX makeup professional. I know what I'm talking about. No, there's so much about Hellboy's makeup that I really, really enjoyed, and I thought, okay, well, might as well have a little chatty chat about it. So one thing about the comics is that hold on, let me check the name again. Mike Mignola. So Mike Mignola has been working in comics for 40, 50 years. And, during that time, his style has evolved a lot. And the style that he's most known for with his Hellboy comics is this really great, heavily inked and shaded type of illustration work, and I am personally a huge fan. I love it when comic artists have a lot of ink in their work to kind of really make those shadows pop. It's a really great way to kind of make sure that your darkest value is always present in the comic. But these really great shadows is what makes Hellboy's character so iconic looking. Hellboy's character design is very angular, lots of hard edges. He's very square shaped, but his big brows kind of cast this shadow over his eyes, which have this blackened eye effect, with his yellow pupils just kind of shining out from the shadows. And I really liked the makeup look that they used in the movie because you can definitely see that an effort was put into mimicking the style of the comic book. So my understanding of Ron Perlman's makeup routine is it's a huge chest piece. So the neck, the pecs, and the upper shoulders. And then after that, you have this cowl piece that goes over the head with a little plastic dome, so the silicone doesn't have the shape of the hair that he has. And then after that you have the face piece, and it's a full face prosthetic. So literally his entire face is covered, and then they add the bottom lip part later. So this is very useful information I was able to find on youtube.com. The skin texture is really great. I kind of love the rough porous texture that they have on the face, and it smooths out towards the head. The eyebrows are kind of perfect because the facial piece as these eyebrows, which they take the brow ridge and kind of push it out a little bit so that you have that really thick brow, but you also have deeper eye sockets. So what ends up happening is that with the magic of makeup, you get this really great effect on Hellboy where it looks like there is like a constant shadow being cast over his eyes. And then every now and then, in a few moments, like you get like a little like glimpse of those yellow eyes. And I really, really loved it. I think it sold itself well. It was believable and it looked great. And I think it like made that comic style of like Hellboy really come to life. And another thing that I really loved about the face is just how square it was. And it's like, yeah, that's Hellboy. He's so square, big square boy. And his like mouth is like one big line across his face. I think the mouth prosthetic was like also really great because you're adding a lot of like meat to the face with the prosthetic, and because of that, you don't want the rest of the features to be like disproportionate in comparison, because Hellboy is like a big character. He definitely like stands out, and I really loved how his profile was just so good. So if you look in the comics, Hellboy has this really like flat face with his nose jutting out along with his eyebrow and the ridge, and the profile for the Hellboy look in the movie again has that like really great flat profile with the nose sticking out. Very like has like such it has such a good shape to it, and I'm just like ah. But another detail that I really, really liked of this makeup look is the horns. Because if you take a closer look at the horns, you'll actually see that there's this like slight rim around the horns. I really like the extra effort put into trying to make these horns, these like shaved horns, look realistic, because actual horns on an animal, animals, plural, not just one singular animal. That's right, guys. There's only one animal on Earth that has horns. But anyway, the horn is, a bone that grows out of the head, and around the outside, there's this keratin shell that's formed. So the detail of adding that, like, keratin shell around the bone of the horn was, like, we love to see it. We love to see these, like, great, beautiful details. I think the lines on Hellboy's face were also, like, really good, especially at the point where, like, his eyebrows and his nose kind of pinch together, because it kind of gives him, like, this, like, eternally, like, grumpy look, but it's still gentle enough to not come off as, like, mean-spirited or, like, constantly, like, angry. Guillermo del Toro, he says his films are, a lot of the times, like, about the relationship that he has with his father. And Hellboy has two fathers representing two different paths that he can take. So it's about, struggling to make those choices, figuring out, like, his identity and where he belongs in the world. So he has a lot to emote about, I think, is a good way to put it. And I know that when it comes to like facial prosthetics and that kind of makeup, if it becomes too heavy, then you end up having a problem where the actor can't emote well enough. Like if your brow piece is too thick, or your mouthpiece like doesn't move very much, then you're going to have like really stiff expressions, which is never great for like an actor. But, Ron Perlman in the makeup finds a way to, like, make these really gentle expressions with Hellboy, and it doesn't seem as something that contradicts, like, the build of his face. Does that make sense? Another great touch that I personally really liked with the Hellboy makeup is adding these fun little, like, patterns into, like, his... Hold on. It was the right arm. I noticed while I was watching that these kind of like fun, organic, like swirly swirls were also on Samuel the monster as well. So I really liked that like art direction through line where like this common motif with like these demonic or monstrous creatures is like these fun, organic, like they're not even like tattoos. Like I don't even know what to call them other than just like a pattern we see on their skin. And, I think it kind of, like, added to, like, the overall, like, cohesiveness of, like, the monster designs. So, this really wouldn't be a video about the special effects makeup in Hellboy if we don't address the fish in the room. Or I guess more accurately, the fish in the tank, or as I like to call him, that bitch in the tank. That's right, we're talking about Abe Sapien. Me and Abe Sapien have a lot in common. For example, we're both beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, charismatic, blue-coated. So when I first started watching this movie, I really didn't know what I was in for. But, you know, the second I clapped my eyes on that freaky little fish dude, I was like, Doug Jones, is that you? And it was. And it was. Look, I can clock Doug Jones from like a mile away. I know him and Guillermo are like besties. I know they worked on films together before. I know this. I'm not a fake fan. The thing with this makeup is that it's so beautiful, I don't even know where to start with this thing. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Really look at it. You want to tell me to my face that there is a more beautiful fish makeup up there? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. There is no beautiful fish makeup that rivals him. One of the things I really enjoy about this makeup look are the color gradients. So you have these absolutely beautiful turquoises and blues kind of going all throughout the body. And then the face is kind of blank, but it's beautifully framed with these articulated fins on the side of his neck and these beautiful, elegant lines around his mouth. One thing that I personally really enjoyed was this pattern on the top of the head towards the back that kind of has this like ocean sea wave water reflection pattern going on it, and I think it's a really good touch because it kind of reminds me of large water mammals. The only real problem I had with the look in the movie was honestly the fact that Abe was not shirtless more often. And I think it's a crime. I think it's a crime to cover up this beautiful makeup job with a shirt. Why would you put a shirt on him? Come on, be honest. Your audience wants to see him shirtless. Just do it. Just take off the shirt. But speaking of the makeup, I did a little bit of digging and I was able to find out that the people who painted this whole sculpt was Tim Gore and Stephen Wang. So shout out to the both of them for creating an absolutely stunning fish man. I think that there are a lot of different parts that really make this makeup stand out. And, you know, one of those is definitely like the articulated gills that are happening here. Apparently they have 3 different gills and all of them were connected to like different servos. And then they were able to like kind of cycle through the movements to give it like that really like organic feel, which was it was so good. I loved seeing his little gills like do little movements on the screen. It was gorgeous. Another thing that I really, really loved was the little webby bits between his fingers and also the webby bits that came from like the back of his shoulder all the way up to his arm, and apparently those are both thermogel, which really explains that beautiful organic stretchy quality to it while maintaining that transparency. It was like just mesmerizing to see on screen. Something that I find so curious about his hands are like the little like suckers finger pads. What the fuck even is that shit? Seriously, because I'm assuming it's there to like help him with his telepathy, but I can't for the life of me like place what it is, because it does, I think, look a little bit like those webbed feet of frogs, but at the same time, like, it doesn't. It also kind of reminds me of like the toes of like geckos. Maggie, do not. Whoa, Luca's here. Say hi, Maggie. You don't want to say hi? Okay, you can go. Bye-bye. But they remind me of gecko toes and everything else that just kind of has that texture, right, like on the hand to help them get a grip. But, you know, if you ask me, like, what actually are these things, I would not be able to tell you. So I think the moment where my attention was like really drawn to how much I love the hands is the scene early in the movie where Doug Jones is like on his hands and feet crawling around the goddamn set, and he takes this big sticky fucking hand and puts it up against the door and has like a whole like telepathy moment, and then, you know, he turns around and he's like, guys, people were here. But while I was doing a little bit more digging, I found out that those scenes where he just does this like big hand thing, that's not Doug Jones's actual hand. It's a mechanical hand that they just put in front of him because apparently, I guess the hand can't really stretch that big when you have like a full hand prosthetic on it. But it was just like a silly little thing that I learned. So I totally forgot about adding this part until after I started editing. But I was going to mention the fact that while I was watching Hellboy, we got to the credits and I was like, oh, yay, Ron Perlman. Oh, yay, like Doug Jones. And then it says makeup consultant Rick Baker. Rick Baker? The man, the myth, the icon, the legend, Rick Baker. The man behind American Werewolf in London, behind the Thriller music video, Men in Black, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Planet of the Apes, Star Wars. Well, yes, that was him. So, if you ever find yourself wondering, why is the makeup in Hellboy so good? Well, you know who to blame. Now. I'm trying not to be biased here because I love a freaky little fish guy in a movie. I will always be a big fan of the Fishmen. But, Del Toro apparently, almost cried when he saw the first maquette of Abe. So, I don't know. I think that speaks for itself. He's so beautiful that the director nearly shed a tear for him. And you can't argue with that, honestly. But anyway, special shout out to monsterlegacy.net because they had all of this great information about the making of Abe and other creatures in the Hellboy movie, both 1 and 2. So if you're really interested to know more about special effects and makeup and stuff like that, I would definitely check out the website. They have some really great photos and also some really great interview pieces that I think are just a treasure trove of information if you're a monster lover and practical lover like me. So yeah, I really enjoyed the makeup for Hellboy, and I feel as though if you don't really vibe with superhero movies, at the very least, you can really appreciate all the really great work that has gone into the main characters and the monsters and all of that, and I'm personally really happy to see, finally, everything that Hellboy has to offer. That was it. Alright, now to get back to some, real shit. Yeah. Fish.
Hey. Hi.
What? Can't you see that I'm busy? Well, there's another Hellboy movie, right? Wait, there's a third Hellboy movie for real? Wait, hold on. Let me look this up right now. No, it's not. It's not a third one. It's a It's a reboot. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's a yeah.
It's a reboot?
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's a reboot.
What do you mean? So, I actually... Look, I'm a fake cinephile. I actually didn't want to watch Hellboy 2019. Because it doesn't... kind of pull the plug on that bitch. Why do we need a new one when this one is here and he looks great and the movie was awesome and it was Guillermo del Toro? So really the question is why do you assume that you can make a film on par with Mr. Del Toro? Because it's you're kind of setting yourself up to fail because you already made the perfect Hellboy movie. But oh, Hellboy 2019. It's the prosthetics look ugly. I mean, I'm sorry, I said it, but it's true. Okay, here's, I have, my shit up, on my little tablet right now, just so I can keep track of, the images that I'm talking about. I don't even want to look at these. He doesn't look good. I'm sorry, but it doesn't look good. So my complaints with like the 2019 Hellboy look is
He looks kind of mean.
so I know that like I guess that like Hellboy 2019's goal was to be like we're M-rated, we're like cool. Hellboy's a mean boy, and he's gonna fuck you up, and he's gonna say curse words now, because that's what we get to do in an M-rated film. So I don't know, like I guess they wanted to go for like a meaner, stronger look, but I think it doesn't do well. Well, I mean, it got the mean, strong look done well, but he doesn't look like Hellboy. Guys, when you're doing a makeup look for an iconic character, make it look like the character. I'm sorry. But my problem with this Hellboy's face is just he's not square. It's just not square. So what I mean by that is the way that this sculpt kind of captures the light is you have this big forehead space, these really big like protruding cheekbones to frame the eyes. So the eyes actually have they have like a much sharper face, which I will give them credit for this. It does kind of, I think, reign a little bit more true to like the general shape that's used for Hellboy in the comics. I don't know if this sharper face is to its benefit. But like my problem is that there's no cheek. There's no jawline. And the reason I say that is because the way that the hair was styled on this makeup is Hellboy's like mutton chops kind of cut like right around here, like right under the cheekbone, and then go down like this. So what ends up happening with this makeup look is that the hair frames the face in a very like triangular way like this, and I think that really takes away from the charm of the squarish Hellboy, because then you're losing like all of this like really great like chin and jaw like real estate. But I don't know, it just like frames the face in like a much more angular way, and like, you know, if that's what they were going for, that's fine, but it doesn't look like Hellboy, which is the problem with this makeup look. I don't know. I also am not sure about the horns, because the way that the horns protrude out of this makeup look is that you still get that like, you know, ring of flesh around the horn where it starts to grow in, but it's very rough, so it kind of looks like the horns are like really aggressive, which again like could be another point to this makeup look. But I don't know, like they have a really great nose happening here, but I don't know, the lines on the forehead, it's kind of like it makes it look like the horns are weighing down on his face, making it like wrinkle up, which is fine, but these big permanent wrinkles in his face just kind of give Hellboy this like eternally angry look, when, you know, I don't really think that's true to Hellboy's character. Huh? Who said that? Who said that? Me? Not me, because I've only read like 3 comics. So I guess I'm not like a real fan yet, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Again, like if that's the point, that's the point, but still. He's not cute. If I was Liz and I saw that Hellboy, I'd be like, next one please. I'll take the fish boy instead. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I have thoughts on special effects makeup because it's something that I've always really loved, because I think in the age of like CG and, you know, all that mocap stuff, it's very easy for the appreciation for actual practicals to be lost. And I am a practicals girl. I love practicals. I love it when they have the shit on the set. Forget that Marvel blue screen like nonsense. When they're like, yeah, you know what? We'll just edit a bar around our actors. Like, just put them in a fucking bar, huh? I believe in the fact that good makeup and good practicals can make a movie go from good to spectacular. And like some of my favorite movies really have fun with like really great makeup and practicals. I don't know. I think Hellboy is like, first of all, a really great movie, but you know, second, I think it's something to really appreciate for, I think, like the sheer kind of effort that was put through from, you know, like the art and production team. I'm not really, you know, usually like a superhero person, but watching the Hellboy movie has like really convinced me to pick up the comics, and from what I've heard, it's pretty good. Ignoring like the bullshit reading order junk, Mr. Del Toro, you may have convinced me to pick up a new comic book. But you know, to anyone who stuck it out this long to like watch me ramble about like makeup, thank you so much for watching. I hope like, you know, you appreciate good makeup like as much as I do. And I really love to talk about like some fun, kooky movies more. So, I don't know. Stay tuned. I like movies. I like talking about them. So, you never know what's gonna happen. Catch you later.